Okay, so I made a video the other day titled The Tooth Fairy, and this is kind of a video response to my own video because I've had a lot of discussion after that video, especially on Facebook. I posted the question on Facebook whether it's acceptable to teach your children about Santa and these things that really do not exist, and it went into a gigantic Facebook discussion, and it's about 80 comments total between a couple people exchanging me back and forth. And I have some clarifications, and I would like to expand more on this issue. So I'm going to rephrase the question to this: is it acceptable to lie to your children? Now, in my video, I brought up the question, is it acceptable to teach your children about the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus, and let's say even the Easter Bunny? These are things that the parents know do not exist, and therefore, is it wrong for parents to teach their children that these things exist when they do not? I believe that any parent teaching their children that something exists when it does not exist is in fact a lie and is deceptive. Now, something I noticed in a bunch of the YouTube comments and even on Facebook is that the majority of the responses to my question were saying that it's perfectly acceptable for parents to lie to their children about these fictional characters that do not exist, because they say that if you don't teach these kids these fictional characters, you are therefore not letting these children dream, and therefore you will take away that child's happiness. You will take away that child's imagination. So therefore, they think it's perfectly acceptable for a parent to lie to their children about these fictional characters that do not exist and telling them that they do exist. I want to make something very clear, that a lie is a lie. Whether it is a white lie or whether it is a big lie, a lie is a lie. And if you are telling your child that something exists when it does not, and that the Tooth Fairy is real and drops a tooth under their pillow, you are in fact lying. What I want to make something clear is that not teaching your children about Santa, the Easter Bunny, or the Tooth Fairy is not going to change their imagination. I don't know why, but people seem to think that if you don't teach your children about these non-existent characters and lie to them, that you therefore are limiting that child's imagination and belief system and dreams. This is a pile of horse crap. We all know that children have an imagination, and I am certainly not against limiting a child's imagination. What I am against is a parent blatantly lying, because let's be honest, that is what it is. You're teaching your child that something exists when it does not. And I'm not talking about God, I am talking about these three distinct fictional characters that do not exist. You're teaching your child that something exists when in fact the parents know for a fact that they do not exist. I have a problem with that. That if you do not teach your children about Santa, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy, you are not limiting that child's imagination. You are not making that child less happy. Most of the comments were saying that if you don't teach your child about these three fictional characters, you're not going to make your child happy. And this is kind of screwed up. Mainly because we know that children have a conditional sense of happiness. 1 second they can bump their head and they can be sobbing, and then you make a funny sound with your voice, and then they'll be happy. You shouldn't have to lie to your children about these characters that do not exist simply to make them happy. In fact, your goal as a parent shouldn't be to only make your child happy, because as I already said, a child's happiness is extremely conditional. Furthermore, a child's imagination is in no way limited if I do not teach my children about these fictional characters. My parents never taught me about Santa, the Easter Bunny, or the Tooth Fairy, and I know full well that me as a child, that did not affect my childhood imagination. I would watch Star Wars and I would end up jumping around the couch with lightsabers, reenacting all the scenes from Star Wars The New Hope. Furthermore, I would even think that I was Duke Nukem. I would jump around the couch, on the furniture, pretend I have a rocket launcher and blow people up. Me not being taught about these characters did not affect my imagination. So telling me that I'm limiting my child's imagination falls short. A child is a child and is going to have an imagination whether or not you teach them about these fictional, non-existent characters. We know that. Now, personally, I have nothing wrong with a child being exposed to Rudolph, Santa, the Easter. I have nothing wrong with that. In fact, I don't have a problem. If I have kids, I don't have a problem them reading books on Santa, learning about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I'm not against that. What I'm against is the parents lying to their children, saying that something exists when they do not. That's my only problem. If my child comes up to me and asks me whether Santa or these characters exist, I'm going to be honest with them and tell them, no, they're not real, they do not exist, but you are welcome to pretend. You can pretend that these characters exist, because a child is a child and their imagination will flow wherever you let it flow. But I'm not going to sit down, read my child a book, and say, Santa is real, and on Christmas Eve, if you're a good boy, you get presents under your tree, and Santa will come down the chimney, give you presents, and he'll drink your cookies and milk. No, 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 and no. You are lying to your child. I don't know why people can't see this. Sure, maybe it's harmless, maybe it's not affecting them in the long run, but I see it as this way. If your child finds out eventually that you lied to them, what's the difference between a child lying versus a child stealing? I mean, if a child sees that their parent is comfortable lying to them about these characters, what makes it any different when that child grows up that he's going to see it perfectly acceptable to lie when he gets his first job, when he lies to the police about whether or not he committed a crime, when he lies in court? Honestly, think about that. I think parents have an amazing effect on their children. If children see that their parents are lying to them, that can affect them in the long run. Furthermore, if a child's in a household and that household is using profanity constantly, that 5 or 6-year-old is going to pick up on the use of the F word if in fact the parents are using that constantly. We know this. Therefore, that child is going to eventually start using profanity. Children are not stupid. They pick up on things very easily and very fast. So I hope what I clarified made sense, and I would really appreciate people to make some video responses, because I find video responses very interesting, and I'm always wanting to learn more about things and just things about our world and stuff. So please, if you feel inclined, make a video response, post it as this. I'll accept it and I'll definitely watch it. Honestly, the fact that people are justifying lying to your children to make them happy is a load of horse S-H-I-T, and I'll leave it at that. Honestly, don't lie to your children. Let them use their imagination. Let them learn about Santa and these things in school and stuff, because they will. You as a parent do not need to lie to your children in order to make them happy. Okay? That's crap. Don't lie to make someone happy. No. I mean, I remember when I was a child, I'd lie to my parents, not because of psychological impulses, but because I knew it was the answer my parents wanted. So yeah, that's enough for now. Peace out.